is for you to intuitively and instinctively follow your soul, your heart and soul. And guess what? It's hard.
This has just been the most extraordinary experience of my entire life. And it's like you've just woken my soul up.
And if you want to create a really good community of care, be the number one carer in your community.
Thanks so much.
That was unbelievable. I felt that. Didn't you feel hey man?
I did feel it. I did feel that.
Oh my goodness, I wish I was in the same room because I'm a touchy-feely person and I just want to hug you.
What the heck is happening right now?
That was powerful. I actually have tears in my eyes. That's how good it was.
I just don't understand how you have the ability to do that, dude. Like, people are talking and you're breaking out like charts and segments, and it's so enriching.
Okay. That's okay. That's mind blowing.
Yes. Wow. My God.
Loved everything. My life has forever changed.
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can.
I believe because I can
Yes, you
do
can.
all things.
Absolutely.
Oh, I've just never met anyone like you.
And boom, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Inspiring Insights, the live experience with Stephen DeSade. I'm Peter Clark with Red TV. And of course, my fine friend from far across the pond, Stephen DeSade. How are you, my fine friend?
Mate, I'm brilliant. I'm absolutely brilliant. That African lady in Melbourne was just a crack up. That was about 2 minutes after I met her. And then I marched up the steps with her because she was going to get her immigration visa to stay in Australia.
Is that right? That was the first time I saw that video, by the way. That's the first time I saw that video.
Yeah, no, it was good. That was 2 minutes after I met her.
The characters are in there. It's all that. So it's fun. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, first of all, on this live experience with Stephen DeSade. We normally broadcast, Stephen, as you know, on YouTube and Facebook, but today, or wherever you're tuning in from, I think we are actually live on LinkedIn. I don't know that to be true yet, because someone will tell us afterwards. But if anyone's watching and they want to put it in the comments for us, please do. If we are live on LinkedIn, welcome to the LinkedIn platform, because that's a battle to get access to. I hope they don't record that and then use it against me. It's a battle to get access to that guy. So, but anyway, we have access to live broadcasts for LinkedIn. So welcome everybody who's watching and so on. So we have another amazing show. And what's always fun about this is we have an international collective of guests, which is fantastic. They stay up all hours of the night for us and in the morning, and we so appreciate that. So it's been fantastic. So Stephen, I know you want to jump right into the show.
I just
if I can go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to dive into something really, really quickly that's on the board that's inspired by a couple of conversations we had last week from Jairus. Your identity defines your destiny. So this is just an exercise. If you want to know what people admire about you, here's 5 steps on how to do it. Number 1, go out to all of your comments, and read not about their accolades and how wonderful you are, but read about the substance of the outcome that you're helping with people. How are you inspiring? How are you shifting them? How are you helping them? Then go to birthday cards, wedding cards, Christmas cards, when your children have birthdays, or when you go and attend your best girlfriend, for example, lady's birthday, new baby. What are people saying about you? What are they admiring about you? And take note of it. Then here's the big one. Number 3, I want you to identify 3 people you do life with, and I want you to write a letter of honor to them. And it'd be a good idea to actually give it to them, not on a birthday, wedding, at Christmas, but just because. I want you to write a letter of honor to them about what they do in your life, how they make you feel, and then share it with them. But for you, you are what you attract and you are what you associate. So if you identify your entity, you're well on your way to discovering your destiny. Quick one, Pete, 5 steps of what people admire about you. They're telling you. Go check your comments, check all those special occasions, write a letter of honor, and then work out the words you use to describe them are what you're attracting and what you're associating with. Pete.
Oh my gosh, I love that. We need to do a show just with that. This is why I don't want to give you the screen all the time. I sometimes I hesitate when he says, hey, let's just go down to the board. That's a workshop right there. But I love the idea of being able to or encourage people to write a letter.
Letter of honor. Why not?
Letter of honor. What generally speaking, what exactly does that look like? Or what is it?
It would be an expanded version of what you'd say to someone on their birthday. It'd be an expanded version of what you would say when you find out that someone's had a bereavement, or whether someone's had a success at work, someone's got a new job, someone's got engaged, someone's had a new baby. Expand on that. And here's the kicker: for absolutely no reason except them. So it's not because of Christmas. It's not because of a birthday. It's not because they did something for you. It's just because they're in your life. Oh. And when you write that letter, listen to the words that you use to describe them, because you are what you associate and you are what you attract. The whole reason I want to do these 60-second bursts before the show gets going, Pete, is in the first 2 to 3 minutes of this show, I want you to have something, and I know Peter supports this, to take into your life an hour after you've watched the show. This isn't a live show. This is a live workshop of execution for you to be better in your life.
Fantastic. Oh gosh. Okay. I love that. I love everything you put there. And what's cool about this show is, by the way, everyone can look back at that board, take a screenshot, and dig right into those few points there. And by the way, I just want to make sure I see this. We are getting some people. And so Doug is there. Hey, Doug. Good. It's
on YouTube, isn't it?
Ash.
Oh, Ash is on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. First comment from LinkedIn. Ash, you are the first comment from LinkedIn, my friend.
The mastermind.
Super
the mastermind man.
That. And who else we see? Look, Jennifer Buckley. I mean, she's so awesome. Love that. Maddie O'Keefe. Thank you, Maddie. I super appreciate that. We have a LinkedIn user that basically just gives little claps. I love that. Thank you, Karen Judge. Appreciate that. Maria Benson. I know Maria Benson. So good to see you. So good to see you. And yes, we are live. And Maddie says we're on LinkedIn. So this is really, really
well done, Maddie. Thanks, buddy.
Super.
Maddie, come on the show. I'd love to meet you.
Oh, Matt's a rock star. I love Maddie. We go back a little bit, and anyway,
Maddie on the show.
Great. He would be a great guest, and so on. So, I'm hoping that we're seeing all of the different platforms and stuff. I'm getting all kinds of weird signals, everybody, just so on my feed here, actually, Stephen, just so you know. So if we actually lose each other for some reason,
I'll just
we
keep
are
going.
live, and we're at the mercy of the internet. And that's why I stay very calm and cool with this stuff. Off camera, I'm not so calm and cool, but on camera, I don't lose my cool, because you know what? It's the internet. What are you going to do? We're live broadcasting. Okay, let's just jump to the show.
I'll just scribble on the board, you know me.
Hey, listen, I just give you a napkin and you could do this show. There's no doubt about that. So let me just see if I could get right now us up and running here with this week's show. I love where you're going with this. I mean, the origins of opinion addiction. Oh my gosh. I mean, if we're ever in a world right now where opinions are everywhere on every platform, it's 2020. So take it away, Stephen. With
I actually, when I speak about this, it's actually called the 9 behavioral engagements. And I know there's a lot of slides here, Pete, so we'll just get through these quickly without rushing. And when we do that sequence of 9, go through them fairly quickly. Let's define opinion as a judgment, and listen to this, everyone, that's insufficient to produce certainty. So the next time you're invested in someone else's opinion, make sure you understand that an opinion is a judgment that's insufficient to produce certainty. And an addiction is the state of being compulsively committed. So opinion addiction, by definition, is a commitment to inefficiency.
Oh, God, I love that.
Yet, in times like this, we ignore opinion and we pray for certainty. But then there's those times when we believe in opinion and we act on uncertainty. Hold for a sec, Pete. For those of you who know my story, that is not an accident. That was intentional. I believed in the opinion of others and their assumption that when my divorce, my financial bankruptcy and all of that happened, for those of you who know my story, that was the car that I intentionally tried to end my life in. And I did that to it and survived, and so did the other 2 people in the car, thank God. So when you believe in opinion, you act on uncertainty. So these are the 9 pillars. Human beings are herd animals that live in patterns, and success and failure leaves clues. And as herd animals, we've lived in cave communities, city communities, and virtual communities. Hold for a sec, Pete. The interesting thing is, everyone's so excited that Facebook and LinkedIn over the last few years have gone to groups or communities. You know what? We used to sit around in caves scribbling on walls. Today we sit in condos and scribble on iPads. The first Instagram's on a wall that was written in Indonesia in the Paleolithic era 40,000 years ago. So we are herd animals that cluster in virtual city and cave communities. We live in patterns, and we live by our culture, which is our geography, our conditions, which is our prosperity, and our circumstances, which is our positioning. And our circumstance of positioning is in the most essential and fundamental unit we all have, which is the family unit. And success and failure leaves clues. Think of every success you've ever had in your life, and then think of every failure you've had in your life. And they can be contributed to not speaking up or speaking up, hesitating to act or just acting, and our desire to fit in, our craving to fit in. We crave fitting in. So we hesitate to act. We avoid speaking up, not to affect our circumstances, appeasing our conditions, obliging to our culture, to be accepted by our virtual communities, not offending our city community. So we end up locked in the cave called opinion addiction. However, these people ignored opinions. They spoke up and they didn't hesitate. They influence cultures, they redefine conditions, and they impacted the circumstances and are impacting the circumstances of humanity. So here's my 3 questions. What's the one thing that you need to speak up about? Number 2, what's the one thing you've always hesitated about? And number 3, and this is the kicker, everyone, have you noticed when you speak up and act, opinions are silenced?
Oh, gosh.
There's a lot in that, everyone. There is a lot in that.
I'm leaving it up for a couple seconds. Yeah, exactly.
But if you go back a few slides to those 9, what I call the 9 behavioural engagements.
Yeah, let's jump back.
And everyone I know, so we're so busy trying to fit in, we hesitate to act, we don't speak up, we don't want to impact our circumstances, we don't want to make our conditions uncomfortable, we want to oblige to our cultures, we want to be accepted by every community and not offend our city or local community. And then we end up being locked in the cave called opinion addiction because we're terrified to feel isolated.
Oh, that is so, I mean, it does that not, that just describes everything that most of us are feeling right now, especially in 2020. I mean, you know, use our homes or wherever we live as our caves, quote unquote. We feel isolated, we're locked up, and we're trying to communicate, and everyone has an opinion. Everyone feels like sharing it. It's just a really strange, interesting time for people, pros and cons. So, man, I love where you're going with that. And
part of the reason I did the admire thing is I want you to go out and admire the people who speak up and don't hesitate to show their admiration of you. I want you to go out and find out those times when people are engaging with you because they like who you are, because you have spoken up in their life. You have acted and shown them love in your life, whether that's that special person or just someone like Ash, for example, who I love to bits and I love what he does and what he represents, and Jairus and Zara and the people who came on last week. Those are the situations that you need to find and admire, because if you admire those, you'll find a way to break opinion addiction. It's intentional what we put on this show. That whole concept of the 5 steps to admiration, I intentionally placed that just before I gave you those 9 steps.
Oh, fantastic. Getting some great feedback here. Ash, thank you. Yay. Got a big yay here. Here's an interesting, this is probably why we're getting some of our feeds, everybody. So we're keeping you up to date. Thanks, Maddie. YouTube was choppy and LinkedIn is brilliant. So you know what? Maybe
they're warring against each other.
I know. I was just going to say, maybe LinkedIn's saying, hey, Peter and Steven, if you guys are, you don't need to be going out to YouTube. Stay here on LinkedIn. I mean, I don't know. But it looks much better. So we're getting much better feeds on other platforms as well. So anyway, you know what? It's just a weird time right now, everybody, but we're so glad everybody's here on LinkedIn. Judy, thanks for being here. We so appreciate that. And awesome LinkedIn Live. Look at that, Lori. Thank you.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
Right. So here we are. We're all rocking and rolling. Oh, Judy. Hey, I love you too. It's awesome. Okay, listen, we have people all over the world. Now, this gentleman's been up all night, by the way. So our first guest has been up all night working. He finished his shift at 3:30 in the morning, made his way home,
wow.
and he's been drinking coffee ever since, waiting for us. So, and I said,
Indian coffee.
I know, right? Have you ever been to India, by the way, Stephen?
No. Need to go.
I've never been, so I'm so excited to bring on our first guest, and he helped me with the pronunciation because I'm always super sensitive with that. Harshan, did I get that right? How are you?
That's correct, Peter. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Oh, listen, I'm so excited to have you here, and thank you for joining us all the way from Mumbai. So I appreciate that. Stayed up after the shift of working all night, and here you are joining us right now. Listen, so super much respect for you, sir, for being here. I'll leave you with Stephen and your question. Take it away.
Hey, Stephen, how are you?
I'm good, my friend. It's Harshan. Is that correct? So I get it
That's
correct. Excellent. Thank you so much for this. What are we going to chat about?
So, Stephen, I just want to ask you a question. Might be that you might have already been asked about this question in the past.
Yeah, but not by you.
So the thing is, I'm currently working in an organization, which is actually a very good company, but it doesn't has a role-based kind of a role as per the title which is provided to the employees. For example, right now I have a title about business process lead, which basically means a team leader. So not necessarily just because I have that title, I'll be actually given that role. So it might be like I'm actually working into work related to an associate instead of handling a team.
Yep.
And same thing also goes on my hierarchy level. For our system manager, it's not necessarily he will be actually having a team. He will be still working like a associate. So unless you reach to a managerial level, so basically you don't have much of anything that values your title. So my thing is it worth for an employee in long term until you reach that level to stay in that organization? Or is it better he actually aims for an individual contribution in a separate company or look for change?
Okay, cool. Couple of things. First of all, what you like to do is what you've learnt. What you love to do is who you are. Really, really important. 98% of society have learnt to do what they do. 2% of society, and they were on that picture at the opening monologue about opinion addiction, are just being who they are. So very first thing is you're probably working in an organizational structure where you like it, and some of that like is because there's a time and money combination that gives you lifestyle to whatever degree. Part of your question is, who is it that you really are? Because my first question to you is, what do you want? If you could, we talked about letter of honor. If you could actually describe the type of, and I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to look as if I'm going between Sydney and Mumbai via the long route. But I am going to answer your question. What is it that you want? Because what you've done has gone down into, I know how to do this, but this is why I do it, which is where all your admiration comes into, right? What is it that you actually want? Let's just park the concept about your question of the structure of business and how I might fit in. What is it that you actually want? So if I gave you a blank check and so I gave you a blank check over here, and I gave you a blank canvas over here of the type of job you would want, what would you tell me it is?
So being a Czech, now I come from a payroll background, so I would say that's my paycheck, which has been related to bonus. So I can say that.
Yeah, but that's not what your question was. But that was not what your question was.
What I want was, I want a role which is, so if I'm going for a managerial kind of role, so I would prefer that I have a team where I can simultaneously learn from them and able to handle them, so I can grow when I go up the ladder, rather than staying on a position where I don't see anything happening and I'm actually just working like an associate.
Okay.
So that's my thing is, if I have to work at an associate level, I mean, just like an associate, would it be better I just work as an individual?
One of the things you need to do is get a partition in your mind between what your head is telling you and what your heart's telling you, because you're interlacing between the two as you talk to me. It's not a criticism, it's an observation. So when I said what you want, you said people and you said handle. In my world, handle means lead. And the nature of the way you ask and the sentiment and the tonality in your voice, I would suspect you're a kind person who actually likes helping people. You also talked, you wanted people. You said you wanted a team. A team is people. People is handle, is lead. People, you want to help them grow. You use the word grow. Growth is development. So I guarantee who you are is about wanting to lead and develop people, to use some of the language that's familiar with what you're doing. Over here, you're sitting in a position. And I would suspect that position you're in right now has a limited amount of lead and a limited amount of development, because you've actually got a cap on what you can do. And it's called your boss. It's called a structure. It's called where you sit in the food chain or where you sit in the corporate structure. So one of the things, when I go back to who you are and lead and develop, and the sentiment and the tonality, was just the way you conducted yourself when you first spoke to Peter, the way you introduced yourself to me. It's in the opening 15 to 20 seconds of someone's dialogue you can understand whether they're heart-driven or head-driven. And as soon as you started speaking to people, Peter, I knew exactly what I was dealing with. But one of the things at the moment, if you're in the corporate world, and this is a challenge for corporate right now, the corporate world had everyone working 9 to 5 in an office. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's working off-site, and most corporate managers don't know how to handle it, because they don't know how to, where does the position of home working fit? What if I can't see you? How do I know if you're doing any work? So one of the things you need to do in terms of what you want as a position, what type of leadership and development role could you start looking for if that's what you want? And that looking for might be in your existing position, or looking for might be an external position. And right now, a lot of corporate headspace is how do we lead and develop people? And I'm going to use a very simple example in the context of what's happening with the pandemic. How do we lead and develop people? Because most people are used to managing positional authority. Positional authority defined by a structure that's been around for 20 years. It's a little bit like the education system right now. Everyone knows the way that we're teaching kids is not actually appropriate for what they walk into. But we still have an authority position around this is how we do it. So one of the things that you would want to consider doing, and this goes back to who you are, you like leadership, you like development. One of the things you need to do is start thinking of 2 options to get into some, so that's kind of some clarity on where you're at. I know that's fairly quick because these always are, but here's a couple of things that you can do. You've got some choices that you need to make. First choice is you expand the position where you are now. And that choice is driven by the fact that you want to lead and develop people. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So one thing you can do, option A, we always do red, so we've got to do reds. We can't use black, and I should never use my hand. A. You need to think of how you can use leadership and development with your existing position, understanding the circumstances that we're in right now. If there was ever an opportunity for you to actually approach about development and leadership because of the changes to how business has been conducted right now, it's right now. The other option that you've got is start reviewing external opportunity. Because guess what? External opportunities are having the exact same problem.
Correct.
It's exact same problem. So leadership and development of people is problematic right now, because most leadership and development in the corporate space is positional. Positional to an existing structure that's never had to deal, and I'm just going to pick on one element, working from home. It's never had to deal with it before. So your leadership and development of people is your number one asset. Your leadership and development of people is your number one message. And your leadership and development of people is your number one opportunity. And that opportunity, and we'll leave it as that, is either to look externally or expand within your existing structure. And this section of the video will be cut out and sent to you in the coming days. And I'm doing this fairly quickly. But one of the things you need to embrace is that I'm a leader and a developer of people. And I understand where you're at right now is you're in the headspace of what you've always been used to. It's part of the reason when you asked me your question, it started in your head and halfway through went to your heart, which is why I wrote up like and learn. As soon as you started speaking, it went from your head to your heart. So one of the things is you need to address the fact that if all you're going to do is speak head-based, not talk about leadership and development, you're just going to get stuck as another one of these managers playing positional structure in a world that doesn't understand it anymore.
Correct.
Does that make sense? So one of the things you need to do, one of the things, and I say this to people quite often, one thing that would be really good for you to do is pick up your phone, put on your headphones, and have a conversation with me. You never have to send it to me, but have a conversation with me and literally, hey, Steve, how you doing? I just wanted to talk to you about where I'm at with work, and then explain it. You don't have to send it to me, by the way. Just explain it and have a discussion and make out you're talking with me and drop my name. And you know what, Steve, it may not be like this in Sydney and Australia, but this and talk and talk and talk. And then I want you to listen to yourself talking out of your head, craving for you to be conducting your heart leadership and development. Your level of awareness at the moment is not one or the other, but it's drifting between both. So what I encourage you to do is your homework assignment, your tactical execution, as we call them on the show. I want you to have a conversation with me and record it for the sole purpose. I want you to hear how you talk from your head about position and structure, because you always have, but you actually want to lead and develop people. You want to grow people. I want a team, Steve. And listen to that heartfelt nature. And when you do, you'll have a bunch of words that'll become the language of your opportunity to either find a new role or develop it, amend your existing role or develop a new one. And you get to a point where when I need to speak corporate head authority positioning, I will, but I also need to speak the language of people. Right now and the next 10 years, before COVID came along, corporations were having to deal with the fact that we could actually no longer need a corporate structure. COVID now has amplified and magnified that at lightning speed. So my number one suggestion, have a conversation so you can identify what's in your head, what's over here in your heart, listen back to it for the words, go back to what I said about a letter of honor, listen back for the words, and that'll start helping you to language, creating an opportunity or expanding your opportunity, or putting a CV and a presentation together for people who are seeking exactly the same problem you're experiencing. There's two types of people in life, my friend. I'm going to do this real quick and then I'll throw back to Pete. There are two types of people in life. There are people who are trying to solve things, and there are people who are just trying to sook things. Sook is an Australian expression for people who just whine and people who solve. I need you to become a solver, because you know what? You are. But you need to solve leading with your heart and your head, not solve leading with your head. Because if you stay in your head, all you're ever going to do is play the game of positional authority in a structure that is currently becoming redundant. Peter?
Correct, yes.
Wow, there's so much unpacked in there. Harshan, I hope you're taking notes, but that's a cool thing about video. We can always go back to it. But I just love the overall theme that I pulled from that, Stephen, is the head and heart idea of leadership versus management.
Yes.
We have people that have titles that shouldn't be leaders, and we have leaders that actually don't have any titles. And it comes back to that head-heart way of approaching things. So, Harshan, I hope that makes sense to you, my friend. It certainly is a great question. I think a lot of people in your role these days, people who have to manage people from afar and working from home and that kind of thing. We're
down on the board for a
second. So this is actually a thing that has been faced by a lot of my colleagues in their organization. So they all have this title, but they are not satisfied because they don't have a team or any kind of a thing which is associated. So when they decide, what is the point of having a title if you're not going to have a team? That's one of the reasons I asked this question. So in case anybody of my associates tomorrow asks me, I should be able to address that issue to them.
Yep. But one of the things you need to do is give solutions. So at the moment,
Correct.
heart is leadership, head is management. People are managing by reaction. Leadership is a need. People are needing leaderships to develop, as opposed to following positional authority, following an existing structure, and managing by reaction.
Right.
Part of the reason that management by reaction in the existing corporate structure has been so confounded in the first half of 2020 is because what someone explained to me, the management of everyone working from home, that no one knows how to do it. But there are people who are shining because they've actually developed the heart of leadership, which is needed. So when it goes back to that solver and sukha thing that I talk about, one of the things that you want to do is have that conversation, listen back to it, and find the words that when someone says, I don't have a team, I can't. Well, there's two things. If you don't have, go and get it. But you can't go and get unless you know what it is. And one of the things I notice with you is you have a heart for people, you have a heart for leadership, you have a heart for development. It's in need right now. And if you can't find it where you are, go looking for it because it's out there and it's in need. This section of the video will be cut out by the angels, hi girls, and it will be sent to you. So you can watch this again because I know I've gone through this reasonably quickly. But one of the things you need to do is get out of your head, get into your heart, and bring your head of execution behind your heartfelt nature, because people at the moment are desperately looking for heartfelt leadership with structure. Thanks, Pete.
Harshan, I hope
Thank you.
That was a dig in. We dug in there. Please,
he nailed it.
Harshan. I know you're staying up late for a long time. Grab some coffee. Stick around if you can.
Please stay around.
We would love for you to stick around.
Sure, definitely.
We would appreciate that so much. Stephen, I just love the idea of the relationship between, leaders and managers. And you talked about head, heart, all that kind of stuff. I really like that. And I think a lot of people will pull something from that. Let's just, I'm going to check the comments real quick just to make sure that we are still doing good here, Stephen. We are still... We are still alive. So there's a create a space of awareness. Great advice. Judy with a quick amen in there, of course. Love this little line here. Be addicted to your heart. There you go. Best Uber driver ever. We know who.
Try him.
Of course. There you go. Fantastic. And Judy is still with us. Yeah. Wouldn't this be in every field? Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And Judy, by the way, is a fine realtor. Everybody, just so you know. So check her out on LinkedIn. Just thought I'd throw that in there for you.
There's the advertising spot.
Yeah, there you go. We will have spots in the future. There you go. Now, Stephen, you wanted to jump into something real quick. You also sent this to me. Literally everybody. Sometimes Stephen comes up with some cool ideas and says, "Hey, Pete, let's just throw this on." So here we go. We're going to throw this on, and please walk us through a little bit about the idea of this.
I'm a producer's and director's nightmare, but I really appreciate it. Hey, listen, everyone, one of the things is, and you'll see some stuff coming out as we get to the end of polishing the show to the point that it is, you ask me questions that inspire insights for others, and the messages that have just come through from different people around the world is proof. So to give you an idea, this is what I call the content compression ripple of the show. And I'm not going to go through them all, but we're pulling out 2-minute videos, monologue videos. We're putting out image quotes. We're taking guest videos, which is what we've just done, for example, with Hamish, I think that's correct, and sending it back to people. So the live show is basically been cut up into all of those elements. So here's my point to you. Coming on the show and asking your question enables us to create that level of content to inspire others. You ask me questions that inspires insights for others. So if you want to come join the show, come join the show. Why? To help us inspire others. Thanks, Pete.
Oh, fantastic. Love that. And it's so true. I mean, the content that's being created in the conversations that we have, people can learn so much just even from little 30 and 60-second clips, let alone hanging out with us for a little while, or hanging out with you anyway. Let's put it that way. I'm just... I'm here. I'm enjoying it like everyone else. Now, I have to throw this out as a quick question here. Rajiv, can you hear me? I know you're in the green room. Rajiv, can you hear me right now? Can you nod? If you can hear me, I think Yeah, I think he can. You know, what's really weird, Stephen, he says he can hear you, but he can't hear me. No, I got to tell you something. Like that would be brand new to me. I'm a pretty savvy guy on the internet, and for this one broadcast, for my voice to be pulled out, that's going to be really. But anyway,
you might want to get him to write his question in the comments, and we can answer it from there, just in case. I hate him to miss out.
Yeah, we'll definitely go. And Rajiv's in India, so we appreciate that, and so of course it's early there as well. But we're going to go to Singapore. Let's go to Singapore. Have you ever been to Singapore?
Many times. Beautiful place.
Gosh, I just think Singapore is awesome.
I love it.
We have an awesome person joining us from Singapore right now. Is Angela? How are you?
Hi guys.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm going to get you squared up in the screen in 2 seconds here. Let me get you. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll get you all squared. There you go.
I got half of my face gone.
Thank you for joining us. We so appreciate it. As I said, you're in Singapore. And what time is it there now? You're joining us here this morning.
Now it's 8:36 a.m. to be exact.
8:36. So you're actually into tomorrow morning. I'm still in Tuesday night. You're in Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me the ending. Don't tell me the ending. I want to stick around for that. It's going to be a beautiful day. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to leave you right now with Stephen to ask your question. You go right ahead.
Okay. The question that I'm going to have for you. Finally, we get to meet.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, actually, for this question, I do not know whether is it considered a appropriate question, but basically, I've seen how you are able to kind of decipher. I don't know what is the word for it. When somebody comes to you with a question at this point, you are just able to kind of break it down and put it into point forms, and for that for you to do that, I'm sure it's a gift. Yeah, it's not everyone can do it that way. Yeah, and I also was just thinking that for you to do that, I think one of the so-called criteria or quality is to be very clear, to have clarity, and I think in life sometimes it's so important to have clarity, to be able to make a wise decision, and I would say that whenever, even for myself, if I do have clarity, I find that it's much easier for me to know what is the next step that I need to take. So I just thought that my question for you today would be, how do you get clarity? Yeah. I don't know if
No.
Yeah, because it's a bit weird. I know, but I thought
it's not.
Yeah, it's something that will be beneficial, right, for every one of us to know how do you achieve that kind of clarity of thoughts, especially and especially in today's context where everything is being bombarded at you, and sometimes, how do you actually do that?
Okay. I'll do without telling my story, because many have heard it and we don't have time for it anyway. But the number one thing is you've got two options when it comes to burdens. You can actually use them as an excuse, or you can use them as a platform. All of the stuff, the picture of the car and all those types of things, divorce, suicide, all those types of bits and pieces that I mentioned, going emotionally bankrupt, which is devastating, financially bankrupt, which is painful, but it's not the same as emotional bankruptcy. Your burdens can either become excuses or become platforms. And if you use them as excuses, you'll never create clarity, ever. But if you use them as platforms to serve from, I hung upside down in a car because I thought I was useless. I drank a bottle of gin, put the roof down on a convertible, and I tried to kill myself because I thought I had no value. When I was first put into this world, I was the fifth son of a family that wanted to have a daughter. So they immediately tried to adopt a daughter instead of keeping me. So all of those things I used for 57 years, because that's how old I am. I know I don't look at Angela. 57 years, I actually kept asking myself why, until I got to a point in 2008 where I thought my assumption of other people's opinions was that I had nothing to offer them. And by a miracle, not only did I not get charged for that accident, I walked out and no one got hurt. So I got really, really clear 3 years later when a girl asked me what happened with the accident. And what did it mean, she asked me. And I said, oh, and it just came into my head. A moment of clarity that redefined my life in 2011. When I said, my maker valued me so much, he saved me for my own free will. I hung upside down in a car and survived so I could speak to you, Angela. That when I tell you, and for people who don't know Angela's work, she's probably the most articulate storyteller educator I know on LinkedIn. So if you're not following Angela's stuff, you should. So my first answer to your question is, what are the burdens you've had of your past? Those situations and relationships that didn't work, those children that didn't survive, and there's some people around the Sede land who have had that, even right down to 158-year-old infants that passed away. You'll either use them as an excuse or you'll use them as a platform. And when you use them as a platform, you'll get clarity. From clarity will come confidence. From confidence will come creativity. So my number one point to you, what burdens have you had that give you such resolve to never give up? Because your focus is born from burdens. Most people that think their focus is like the Holy Grail. The other thing that's worthwhile doing, once you've got that section of focus, I'm on a mission to destroy doubt. I will just not allow people to doubt. So what are people saying about you? So once I decided that I was going to actually help people with this gift, because I tried to, you would think a bottle of gin, 150 k's an hour with the roof off on a convertible, you would think that the damage to that car would do it. And I survived. The irony is my lead finger on the videos is bent. That's the only damage I got. So the very first thing is your focus is born out of you understanding what your burdens in your life have been about. There's people watching this show that 30 years ago had their children's disrespected. And today, only this week, that particular individual sends me a note about what I'm doing by shifting her life. There are people watching this show that are soul shifters who lost their husband and lost their son and now are starting to understand because of our work that they at 60 have a purpose for humanity. Their used by label is never going to go out until such time as it's time for them to leave this earth. So the very first thing is your focus is based on your definition of burden. Your burden is an excuse, then go and actually be a sook through the rest of your life. But your burden is a platform to serve from, and that will create your focus. Number one. So that's A. Got to use my red because we always do A. So A, Angela, what is the focus from the definition and meaning of your burdens? B is simply this. If you want to know how I'm doing this, and all my secrets are going to be given away, there are 3 keys, there are 5 steps, and there are 7 stages. And if you notice everything I do, today's opening, and there's 9 modules, which I won't go to 9 because it will take too long. Everything I talk about, you'll notice, is in 3s. Everything I talk about in terms of the admiration model we kick the show off with is 5. Everything is about stages. So when you give someone 3 keys, you're giving them, these are the 3 key things you need to do. You're giving them a vision. And people go, God, Steve, you're so insightful. Every time we listen to you talk, you just break things down. You're so insightful. Yes, because I understand what the burden of my life was and the focus it's given me. Then what are the 3 key things that I need you to do, Angela? Vision. What are the 5 steps I need you to take? Progress. What are the 7 stages you need to go through? Monitoring. What would your life be like if you had a vision that you could progress through monitoring as you go? That's how I do it. I worked out what the focus of my burden was and what the meaning and definition of my life was. Then I worked out every time I'm going to speak to people, there will be 3 keys, 5 steps, and 7 stages. So you will notice, everyone, and in Soul Shifters, as I know I think you're in, or you've been invited to come into it. Everything I've been doing is on that previous chart, everyone. That's part of the reason Ash and everyone who and Kimberly and people like that, who I'm in pods with them and I've not been commenting as much, sorry guys, because I've been building the foundation of everything. And once that's built, which is now almost finished, we're in a situation of what we're going to be putting in what are the 3 keys to storytelling? What are the 3 keys of public speaking? What are the 5 steps you need to take to mindset mastery? What are the 7 stages of writing a video script? I'm on a mission to make sure humanity doesn't realize we're not any different to each other. We all can love each other if we admire who we are first. So number 1, the burdens of your life become focused to serve as platforms. Everything you do, and this is one of the things you do, Angela, and you don't realize it, which is why I compliment your content. You're always providing education story. Or what I would encourage you to do is start giving a summary at the end. These are the 3 key things you need to do. You don't have to say 3 keys. It needs to be bang, bang, and bang. Even the way, and I call this view path scanning, even the way I write copy inside of content. So inside of comments, I'll actually post a comment on someone's post that I really think's great stuff. I'll take a screenshot of it and post my comment, and sometimes get more comments than the person's original post. But by the way, I always link to it.
Mm.
Okay, so one of the things that's the first thing you need to do is focus. The second thing you need to do is package. And the third thing, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for getting it wrong. Forgive yourself for not being present as much as you should be. Forgive yourself for sometimes thinking, God, why can't I get more comments on my videos? I think that. How come I can't get more views sometimes? But then I realize I don't care. So last night's post, a 7-minute video on LinkedIn, got about 200 views. We do a thing called traction ratio that the Sede angels track for me. We work out how many comments, how many views, and we work out a percentage of traction. Last night's post, even though it had only a couple of hundred views, had somewhere in the vicinity of 24 to 25% traction ratio. Other people are getting 5,000 views and getting 1.6. I'm not after followers. I'm after you to follow yourself by being focused on the challenges you've had in your life, by structuring the way you articulate your mission, and by forgiving yourself for those times when envy or anger or frustration or doubt creep into your life, because every single day they creep into mine.
Okay.
Wow.
That's how I do it.
Wow. That do you see do you see that, Angela? Like and Stephen, I got to tell you, I love this I've never noticed that. Why? I don't know where I've just been consuming your content.
Secrets out.
I'm too busy consuming your content. Right, Angela? I was thinking I didn't notice 357, but now that he says it, I'm like,
the admire model was 5. The addiction to opinions. So it's 3 keys: vision, 5 steps progress, 7 stages monitor, 9 modules. Everything, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Everything. It's called the power of primes. So guess what? There was 9 behavioral engagements. There was 5 steps to the admire. These are the 3 things for vision. Angela, have focus, package up your expertise, and forgive yourself. That's what it is.
Wow. Now that's clarity. Yeah, no, if that's not the definition of clarity, Angela, I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, it's not what I expected.
No, I didn't know where it was going either. I know what you mean by that. I was thinking, where's he going with this? But it's like, oh, that makes so much sense to me. So, Angela, go ahead.
Sorry, just quickly, how many fingers in front of our face every single day? 10. So what typically happens, and there's a whole bunch of psychology around this. It's why I call it the power of primes inside the academy. And you'll see everything inside the academy is 357. It's everywhere. We have 10 digits in front of our hands, in front of our faces most of the time, I should say. So if I said to you, how much is 3 oranges? Oh, yeah, I get it. How many is 5 oranges? Yeah, I get it. How much is a third of an orange? Yeah, kinda. What if I said, how many is 16 oranges? You put your hand out and all of a sudden you're switching off. If I said, what's 1/16 of an orange? Oh, it's too hard. But if I told you what 3 oranges look like, you can get it pretty clear in your head. If I tell you the 3 keys to public speaking is having great confidence, great content, and great competence, bang, bang, bang. If I tell you the great thing about how I do what I do, yes, it's a gift, but what I did with the gift is I focused on where I got it from. I packaged up my expertise and forgave myself and others on the journey of life. Bang, bang, bang. Now everyone's sitting there going, the 3 keys of public speaking is confidence, content, and competence. Yep. Boom. Everyone walk down the shopping malls wherever you are in the world and watch how it's always 1, 2, 3. Just do it in the Nike logo. It's everywhere because the human brain can absorb the power of primes, 3, 5, 7, 9, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Well, your content, Angela, just needs to have this in it. Start putting the three. So write beautifully as you do, and then at the end, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I relate to that from a video creative perspective. You know, it's the intro, middle, and outro kind of thing. It's all those kinds of things. Angela, listen, that was a great question. Clarity. I mean, that's a big subject. So can you stick around for a couple seconds with us? We're going to come back to you and bring you back in at the end. And
thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with you. Stephen, that was very cool, man. I didn't, you know what? I see your content so much that I'm thinking, I didn't.
My secret's out now. We've got 2 more shows.
All right. Well, this is okay, everyone. Could be the last show right here. Thanks, LinkedIn. Good night. No, that was very cool. Super appreciate that. Okay, so listen. Now we're going to go to India. We're going back to India. Can you
hear us?
And see, now here's the magic. He magically hears me now. He hears you. He's heard the guests. I don't know if we're going to hear him. This is so everybody, just hold on. I want this guy. I want this guy to show up. Let's just see what happens with Rajiv. Rajiv, are you there, my friend?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I love it. Good to see you. Good to see you. Just look at that big smile. It's so good to see you, my friend. Thank you for hanging in there. Like we were in the private room talking, trying to get all the audio fixed and everything. And listen, you hung in there like a trooper. I really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. What time of the day is it right there where you are?
It's just got to be 6:20 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, you are a rock star. 6:20 in the morning, fighting the internet to join the show. We so appreciate you being here with us. I'm going to leave you with Stephen with your question. You jump right in.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello, sir. How are you? Thank you so much for your persistence.
That's something I sort of enjoy doing.
Good for you. A solver, not a sucker. Well done. What are we going to talk about, my friend?
Well, first of all, I must acknowledge one thing, the fact that I really admire and am fascinated by your nuggets coming out like they come from all over the place. And very interestingly, the previous conversation you were having was so connected with my thoughts too, in terms of your clarity, your ability to do what you're really doing. So thanks for that. That's my first sense of gratitude to you. The second thing which comes to my mind, which I wanted to talk about, is as individuals, as what you rightly call people as soul shifters, I think it's extremely important to really feel into the feelings, if I was to really look at it. So how do you really feel into feelings in a way and manner that it can allow you to make the shifts that you need and evolve as humans? And I say that primarily for 2 reasons. One is, as an individual, as a professional, as a person that I'm sort of today and I am sort of evolved into, I do see myself as a very, very giving person, as a person who's very selfless, giving, and being involved in wanting to serve whoever I can serve. At that point in time, the professional environment we are in, the situations we are in, we always start looking at things in a very materialistic way, whereas speaking from the heart always gets the best out of you. How do you get that into what you just described as a 3, 5, 7 steps, which makes it easy that people like me, people around can actually take those nuggets and start living their lives through their hearts, not through their mind? So the question in simple terms, how do you feel the feelings to help you shift and evolve?
Desire. You just said the word giving, and what sits in front of giving is forgiving. Most people struggle with the concept of forgiving themselves. So they think if all I do, and boy, oh boy, did I do this. If I give and 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 give, I'll find a way of forgiving myself because I'll be able to justify what I did. So one option is people are giving so much because they can't forgive themselves. And you can write this down, everyone. Forgiveness is a commitment. It's not a feeling. And I was taught that by a gentleman whose childhood sweetheart was murdered 18 months after they got married. Let me say that again. Forgiveness is a commitment. It's not a feeling. If you're waiting to feel like forgiving yourself or someone else, you're going to wait your entire life, and it's going to be like the cucumber left in the fridge. It eventually makes everything stink. The first thing you need to do is forgive yourself on the journey of giving. Most people are giving because they can't find a way to forgive themselves, and I know that's going off on a tangent. The other thing that comes to mind here is desire. What is your desire? What is it? I was asked during the week, and Ramona, if you're watching, I asked her to ask me the question about listening. Listening, this is my seminar in a sentence on listening. Open your heart to what your desired outcome is. And let me use an example of this for a second. And I am answering your question in a roundabout way. A couple bring home their brand new baby. It's 2 days old. They've not had children before. I don't understand all of this, but I can understand the concept, and I've been around people who have had to experience this. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 days after their brand new baby, and it's crying in the room, and they don't know what to do. And it's crying in a way, and they don't know what to do. Which one of them goes off to Google or YouTube and looks out for the 3 or 5 steps of how to become a good listener? Or do they pick up the phone and, with a desire and a heartfelt commitment to appease and help their child, do they listen to the desire of what they want? Because your heart is the ears of your soul. So number one, do I read again? Number one, if you want to get really good at giving, forgive yourself first. Number two, what is your heartfelt desire for the betterment of someone else? And number three, give from that place. So it doesn't matter that there's only 200 views last night. It doesn't matter. Would it be nice if there was 4,000? Yeah. Why? Because I'd find more people. Does it matter? No. What matters is 28% of people that actually watched a 7-minute video on YouTube, on LinkedIn, replied. You know, LinkedIn, that place where you watch a 15-second video where you won't stop. My desire to give with a forgiving heart is at such a level now, 28% of people will give some commentary to a 7-minute video, and there was only 200 views. Would I like that to be higher? Yes. But what I'm doing right now is building the back-end infrastructure. So Raj, if I see your stuff, and the 357 we've just talked about is really, really cool. But what you need to do is realize if there's 1 billion people online at any one time, or there's 500,000 people the last time, and I'm sure it's higher than that on LinkedIn. If 0.0008% of those, which is what sometimes Gary Vaynerchuk gets of the people and all the big views he gets, if 0.0008% of people actually engaged at attraction level, you would not be able to accommodate it. You just wouldn't. So one of the things that I talk to people about in detail is give with a heartfelt desire to uplift people, to offer value to people. And as we say in Sede land, my number one desire in life is to become a value-added asset to your life. Does it say that I want to get 500,000 followers? Does it say I want to have 30,000 views on my videos? No, I want to be a value-added asset. So when a 60-year-old lady writes to me directly and says, Steve, because of you, I've discovered what my father taught me wasn't right, can you possibly imagine the value that places in my heart and the drive for me to go and find more? I am hunting for the soul of humanity, and I make no apology about it. And the great desire that I saw in you is you wanted to get on the show. So I'm going to throw back to you because we can speak to each other. What is it that you desire when you create content? What are you trying to achieve, Rajiv?
The two objectives that come to my mind whenever I'm looking at content or any engagement for that matter.
Yep.
One is definitely, am I connecting with the individual from a perspective of what he or she is really looking out for. So while it may be a generic message, but it is definitely aimed at touching the heart, the soul, or the feeling of what an individual could probably get moved with. So there is definitely that intent.
Yep.
The second is in my current role of coaching and mentoring people and businesses, I do realize that my own commitment and investment in their success is a very, very strong motivator for me, and that's something that keeps me going. So my own, and I differentiate between their success being primary for me, but versus my investment in their success, and that's probably a very significant distinction I draw out in my commitment to that engagement.
Okay. The words you said, thank you, Peter. The words you said was connecting. Be intensely one-to-one. Intensely one-to-one. Only this week inside of the Soul Shifters group, I sent a video out explaining exactly how I make videos that are so personable. And it was in 2016 when I was in Manila with Jane from the Sede Angels, and a lady from Perth in Western Australia, who I thought was in America, asked me, how are your videos so personable? So I created a video. Your connecting needs to be intensely one-to-one. Intensely one-to-one. Intensely one-to-one. Second thing, your commitment, have a commitment to structure. Because if you create an intense one-to-one relationship with someone, they're going to crave structure. And it goes to a point that I heard this week, which I really love. People don't want your knowledge. People want and crave for the expression of your confidence. People crave for confidence. They absolutely crave for it. So guess what? Guess what this is? Confidence. So we'll call this number one. We'll call this number two. Guess what this is? This is where it starts from. This is where it journeys to in terms of a video, in terms of a relationship, in terms of a connection. Think of the relationship that you and I have had to this point now that we're finally chatting directly. Everything I did was to be intensely one-to-one, to display my unbelievable confidence in my ability that if you hang around with me, I'm going to change your life. Absolutely. Not a single doubt in my mind. You hang around with me and I'm going to change your life because it's my mission. It defines why I breathe. So I start at a place of expressing my confidence. Then I journey to my knowledge, which is structured in 3, 5, and 7. What most people are doing is craving for attention up here. So what I do is we do the Inspiring Insights with Pete's blessing and the angels and everyone that helps us. And the show is basically inspiring insights based on your question. Be intensely one-to-one and display the expression of your confidence, and then journey through your engagement with them, whether it's a video, a podcast, whether it's a comment on a post. You journey down into a commitment of structure. Now, everyone, whenever you see me commenting, and we'll start increasing doing that now that we've finished the in-house in-building that we've been doing, every time you see me comment, every time you'll see me start with an expression of confidence down to some type of structure. And sometimes I feel a little awkward about it because I'll actually put out content that sometimes in a comment seems to be better than the post. And I'm not doing it to be disparaging. It's my gift and I'm not going to stop doing it. But I always find ways of encouraging. So Rajiv, A, start with the expression of confidence by being intensely one-to-one. Go inside of Soul Shifters and watch the video I posted a couple of days ago on how I did it. Number 2, B, as you create content, journey down to what structure. Because people want confidence, but then they want to know what to do next. And for all the Soul Shifters and everyone around Sede land, it's coming at a level you won't believe. I am on a mission to tilt the axis of the world by touching people's hearts. It's why I exist. Pete.
Rajiv, did you feel that? Did you get that?
Yes.
Do you have a microphone? Do you have a microphone around that you could just drop? I think you just dropped the microphone on us. I think that's what he did. Stephen, no, I listen. I always come back in from watching what you do like that, because I am trying to like take this in myself. I'm trying to see how much content and how much helpfulness comes from any one of these opportunities where you just take a clean whiteboard and do that what you just did. Rajiv, does that make some sense to you? I'm in awe of anyone with that kind of clarity as well, when you can throw out a question to somebody. How do you feel about what you just saw there?
Well, I think first of all, meeting Stephen in person do this is sort of pop my eyes out. I think that's the first expression. The second part, I think, so is when Stephen was talking about the content in the comment section getting better, and I so relate with that, because I think your mind starts thinking. The whole process of engagement allows you to sort of look at perspectives which are different, and probably that's what you referred to, Stephen. That's where the intensity probably increases at your level of engagement, and I think that's so powerful, and I completely agree with that. So thanks for that. It was absolutely fabulous.
You're welcome, my friend. And part of the reason I had that much energy is because it's what I do, but I see your content. I see it. And that what I just showed you, and it will be cut out and sent to you as a dedicated video that will come to you, and it will get posted onto YouTube and everything. But just the section of each guest now gets taken out, so you don't have to go and watch the whole show, although you can. Everyone, really, really quickly, when Coca-Cola came along, what they wanted to do is they wanted to replace the word cold beverage. They wanted people just to say, I want a Coke, when they actually meant that they wanted iced tea. They wanted to actually get people to say the word Coke when they were actually talking about soda. They wanted to not just have brand recognition by being in the top 1 or 2 drinks. They wanted to replace the word cold beverage. When everyone in the planet thinks of hope, soul, growth, I want them to think of Sede Soul Shifters. That's what I'm trying to do. Not replace anyone else. But when you log on to LinkedIn, I want you to go to Soul Shifters first to get your hope, soul, and growth, and then go out and see all the other brilliant stuff that's out there. Why? Because this is going to enable your ability to absorb what's out there, for your ability to actually filter what's out there. Coke tried to replace the word cold beverage. Sede's trying to actually associate that when you think of hope, when you think of soul, when you think of growth, when you think of love, when you think of you, think of Soul Shifters, because that's what we're going to do. Peter?
Oh, that is brilliant stuff. Rajiv, stay with me, my fine friend. I want you to stay with me right now, because what we're going to do is that we're going to bring back our amazing guests. Here they are. Look how patiently they've been. Oh, and Harjan, listen, you sticking around, working all night.
Thank you.
Man, much respect to you, my fine friend. Much respect. Thank you, Angela, for sticking around as well. And of course, you're with us. This is one of my favorite parts of the show. I hope Stephen still agrees with me on this.
It's fun.
We want to bring everyone back and so on, because you know what happens is we have so much conversation going on. There's so many opportunities for people to hear different perspectives and so on. There's always something that comes back to mind from the experience. So, Harjan, if I could ask you just from today, after hearing the guests and what we spoke of today, maybe give me an aha from some of the conversation we had today, something that just jumped out at you, whether in your conversation or maybe something you heard from another guest. Oh, I think so. There was. Can you hear me? Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. Is he hearing me, Stephen? Harjan?
Yes, I can hear you.
I got you, my friend. I got you. Are you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Are you playing with me?
So see, no. Okay, see, the moment I knew Stephen would start talking, he would be able to convince me. So the thing I liked about is how he started that most of us live our life based on the opinions of others. So rather than just living on their opinions, it's better you start respecting yourself and follow what you think is right. Might be wrong, might be right. Just follow it. Second thing, which I liked, he said, rather than going for too many followers, even if you can add a value-added service to a limited people, and if it means something to them, that is something you can be proud of. And in the end, which he said, that most of us don't care about your knowledge, they care about what you can give to them. So that's something I really appreciate from him.
Fantastic. Great insight.
He just nailed the entire video. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks, my friend.
Well, thank you. That's great feedback. Angela, let's go to Singapore. Angela, tell us a little aha that you might have gotten either from your connection with Stephen or maybe something you heard today.
Well, there's always there's always a lot of ahas, whenever I'm with Stephen. He just is amazing. So for today, I really appreciate Stephen sharing his secrets away. But of course, I think I really need to some time to digest what has been presented, and it's not that it doesn't make sense. It's just that I need some time to process it. But having said that, I would say that one of the things that pops up, for today's session was when Stephen shared about forgiving being a commitment. I think that stood out a lot for me. I've never seen forgiveness as a commitment. So yeah, that is really something, a great takeaway for me. Yeah.
Oh, that is a great one. I love the fact that you picked that out, a commitment. And to your point, the idea of forgiveness, which I love that subject matter, Stephen. I'm just throwing it out there. We're going to have a show about that. But to think about the idea of forgiveness as a commitment to yourself and a commitment to who you are and how you want to move forward, that's a great takeaway. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's fantastic. Let's go back to Rajiv. It's so fantastic that we connected with you. So give us your little aha or a aha that you might have, something you got from.
I think there are lots of them, but I think in continuation to a few that I've already spoken about, I think he mentioned about being able to forgive before being a giver, and I think that was powerful because that's probably an inner feeling trigger that we're talking about. Because if you can't forgive yourself, I think so your giving is half-hearted. If I was to sort of look at it from my ability to absorb it, so that was extremely powerful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And again, I love the idea of forgiveness is another something that you're pulling from right there. I just think that's a subject matter. You know what? That's going to be a big subject matter as we keep moving forward in this world, because the world is getting very interesting out there for people, and we're running into it seems that could be potentially more conflict in people's lives. And forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of people that you work with, that you live with, all that kind of stuff is going to be so important. It's important anyway, but it certainly seems to be amplified now. Appreciate those comments. And for me, Stephen, there's been so many awesome things that were said today, but what I want to go back to some of the things that you talked about at the beginning of the show. And one of the things was about hesitating and speaking up and the idea that when do you speak up, and recognizing how that serves you or not serves you. So when you don't speak up, does that serve you? When you don't speak up, did it serve you? And vice versa to all that. And I'm thinking back at myself a lot when I'm thinking about the times we're in right now. And I think we all are thinking about that. We see so many things online. We engage in so many different conversations that you wonder, should I speak up right now? Is it time for me to add my opinion? Am I addicted to the idea that I want other people to hear my opinion, or does it matter to me at all? So for me, what I took from everybody today is just, it's nice to hear people speaking up and trying to figure out clarity. I've heard that a couple times, and then this idea of forgiveness. And I think those two things wrap up really, really well together. So again, it's always inspiring to hear what people are thinking about and asking me as we go along. So let's dig in here a little bit. I love this part.
I am listening intently, everyone. Sorry if I look as if I'm dashing around on the board, but I'm listening very, very intently. Harshan, you said believe in self-respect and you follow you, because to attract the true others of confidence, you need to follow you and your self-respect. Angela, the secret resides in you, so digest to focus on your commitments. Rajiv, forgive to give, because half-hearted living is overcrowded and confidence today is craved. And Peter, shout out the music. That's the soul tune of your life. So believe in your self-respect. The secret resides in you. Forgive to give and shout out who you are. You'll attract others of confidence. You'll digest the focus of commitment. Don't be half-hearted because it's overcrowded. Live a life of confidence and sing to the rooftops of your soul, and others who need you will come.
Kaboom. Kaboom. That's all I can say to that. Kaboom.
That's what they said.
Well, that's what you heard, and that's what you put together. I just love that. I love that. Let me put that as full screen for everybody so you can see a little bit again, you want an insight of what someone's thinking about. Stephen, listen, I got so much respect for what you do, my friend, and
Thanks,
I just love the fact you put all that together. So please screenshot that, everybody, for yourselves. And gosh, that is a great summary of today's show. I can't begin to thank the people that come on this show, Stephen, that you connect with on LinkedIn.
It's Lou. It's Lou and Jane. Jane's putting the content out. Lou's connecting with the people. So thanks to the Sede Angels. I really appreciate it.
They are doing such a wonderful job, and I can't thank the guests enough for staying up all night. Well, some of them had to work, actually. So Ajay, I so appreciate you staying up after a long day. So we had two great guests from India. Thank you, both gentlemen, for showing up from India. We appreciate it. Singapore, thank you, Angela, for showing up from Singapore. We're representing over there. Stephen, just so you know, we're being forced. The people are coming in from all different type of time zones. We're going to have to adjust for some of the time zones.
Yeah, no, we will. Well,
we'll figure it all out.
We'll work it out. Yeah,
in the meantime, I hope our guests will stick around for a couple seconds. We're going to finish up the show right now. So let me just jump in here with Stephen. Stephen, another great show. Let me just go to a couple of the comments, because we have been having lots of comments coming in and stuff. So I just wanted to make sure you saw some of these things. And
thank you.
Gosh, let's have a quick peek here. Give value to the heart. There's so many to start with. Oh, let's just kind of go through real quick here. You are a value-added asset. There's Judy. Rashmi, thank you so much. Now we're going back to some of the conversations earlier, and I apologize for getting these up. No. So wrapped up in watching what everyone is doing and enjoying all that. Powerful soul-shifting level. There you go for Jennifer. Thank you so much. Those are super kind. Lori Hart Connections. Love that.
Got to get Lori on the show. Yep.
Karen Judge. I know Karen Judge. I know that person. So a shout out to Karen Judge, by the way. She's doing all kinds of cool things with happiness. Stephen DeSade.
Oh, well, let's get Karen on the show. Come on the show, Karen. I'd love to meet you.
Listen, I didn't say that. You just said that. You're in trouble.
Okay.
Who you invited. You have no idea.
Go for it.
This is awesome. So there's Doug. Look, making connections. I love that. Doug, this is the way to do it.
Good on you, Doug. Well done, buddy.
Look at this name.
Amsterdam,
what
Holland.
Are you doing up in the middle of the night?
She's just a gem of a lady. Got to follow Katja. If you're not following Katja, her artwork is just beautiful.
Her artwork is phenomenal, people. So, and that's the whole point about everybody here on this platform on LinkedIn. You can reach out to everybody and so on. So we're getting good feedback there. LinkedIn Live is an awesome platform, so that's great. Yep. We appreciate that. Always love that. Thank you, Steve and Peter. Love that. Great show. We got there's a comment.
Hey, Digna. How you doing, Digna? Now we got to get Digna on the show as well. That'd be great.
This is awesome, Maddie. See, Maddie is still here watching. Awesome. See that? Hey, listen, Doug. You won me over. You had me at awesome work.
He is too, Doug. Well said. He is too, Doug. Well said.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to embrace that. Steven's trying to get me to say thank you when people tell me nice things instead of making a joke about it. So I do appreciate that. Awesome work as well in the green room. Did an incredible. That's a great shout out. Thank you, Doug. They did do a great job of connecting with us all. Let's see what else we have here. Great guests. Hi, Jennifer. My friend, look at this. Everyone is cool. See, look, Karen Judge. Oh boy, you are.
I am in. Oh, Lou from the Sede Angels. We'd love to, Karen. We'd absolutely love to. It'd be.
There you go.
If a soul like Peter Clark reacts to someone called Karen Judge like that, I just want you to come on the show just to meet you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, Kat, there you go. Again, check out Kat's artwork. It's so fantastic. I want to be there again. Look at there. See, look, we have so many. And listen, I can't thank everybody enough for tuning in. And thank you again, Stephen, for putting on. Listen, if anyone can't grab a snapshot from any one of those whiteboards that you did for us tonight, and inject that into your business, into your life in general, I don't know what else I just hope that you do that, and I encourage everybody.
Yeah,
so Stephen, let's just very quickly before we go, talked about soul shifters and talked about the idea of having people join and LinkedIn. So let's talk about that for 2 seconds before we go, because sure. I think some people might be a little confused at some of the languaging that we're using, and let's talk about the collective if you can. If you could talk about what Soul Shifter Collective is about on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've been around the online world for a long time, and one of the things that I've really wanted to do was to build a platform that is visible through inspiring insights. But I wanted to create something. The Soul Shifter Collective is a platform for everyone where no one gets left behind. So when you come on the show, you come into the Soul Shifters group. The collective is actually the next levels up, where there's one-to-one coaching and there's round tables. We're going to do, and I haven't told Peter this yet, we're going to do a thing on Zoom where we're just going to get on and everyone can have a chat, and I don't have to be on a whiteboard. It's just the community getting together, having a bit of a chat amongst each other and stuff. So basically, the Soul Shifters is the base platform where everyone can come on, because this is a gift. And I never got this gift with the entitlement of being able to charge anyone to come near it. So Inspiring Insights is available to everyone. The Soul Shifters is opening up for everyone. And what's happening above that, if you then want to start working with Stephen Sede on a group coaching, on a round table, if you want to do one-to-one coaching and concierge and all those types of things, that's all there. But no one will ever be able to say to me that all of this ability and this gift that I've been given is not available to everyone, because it will be. So the collective will end up being $1 a day for access into the community. And from there, you can go further. But the bottom line is Soul Shifters will always be available to everyone. And then if you want to advance and take your life, your business to the next levels, that will come and that will follow. But at the base level, everyone has access to this gift, because I never asked for this. I just got given it. And my biggest gift, and I've said this before on the show, my biggest gift is my obsessive desire to give it away.
Oh, and you do it so well, my friend. You do it so well. So we so appreciate that. Thank you for everybody for watching us. And thank you, LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn. I feel like a rock star right now. You know, when you're finishing up the night and it's like, hey, thank you. Yeah, thank you, LinkedIn. We appreciate it.
Forget what I said at the beginning.
We appreciate being live. It's always cool to do that. But hey, listen, the more people you touch and the more people are connecting with you, Stephen, one soul at a time. And there's lots of souls on LinkedIn. That's for sure. So thanks to everybody on all platforms tonight. And Stephen, thank you for another great show. Hey, everybody, take care of yourself out there. All right. Be kind out there. Be kind out there. All right, Stephen, we'll see you next time.
Be well and be brilliant, everyone.